misalnya bisa juga sih sebenarnya bilang kayak I would add I'm happy for you that you have a baby, but I'm also feeling envious because I haven't gotten what I want. And you don't need to feel bad. And I'm not asking for anything from you. You don't need to change anything. I would like to still be there for you.
Iya, itu bagus banget. Welcome to Pillow Talk with JC, where deep talks lead to real confessions. Hari ini aku bareng Dea, my bestie, neighbor, and sister. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for being super thoughtful and accommodating. Soalnya tadi gerubukan banget nih, tadi pagi.
Let's start from the beginning. What's the first memory you have of us as friends?
You slid into my DMs, reached out to me first saying that we're neighbors. And then dari situ kayaknya, lucu nih, kayak kita jadi teman aja. Terus kayak ask her out on a date. So we went on a date. Terus kayak, kayaknya nyambung nih, boleh deh jadiin temen.
Yeah, we went to this coffee shop nearby. And I remember we talked a little bit about business. Tapi what really stuck with me was how warm your hug was. You hugged me like you meant it. And it's only after months knowing you that I learned you had a hug philosophy. Would you maybe like to share about that?
So this hug philosophy ini sebenarnya I also adopted from a good friend of mine. Her name is Shabs. And she also listened to a podcast about it. And ini, just so I'm not quoting her the wrong way, tapi intinya I think it's something along the lines of imagine as if this is the last time you'll ever see this person, and then feel grateful that this person is actually still here, and then hug them. So I feel like gimana ya, coming from a Chindu family, we're not taught dan gak dibiasain untuk benar-benar ada physical touch seperti itu, especially buat strangers. Tapi even in my family as well, peluk tuh bukan sesuatu yang lumrah gitu loh. Dan kehangatan itu memang, I don't know if you can relate, but in my family tuh agak aneh gitu kalau sampai peluk-peluk, apalagi mau peluknya sama orang yang belum dikenal atau yang that are not family members. Especially kayak teman-teman aja kan, kita cuma cipika-cipiki yang barely sebenarnya, bahkan kalau pakai makeup suka nggak kena juga kan.
Bener loh.
Iya, ntar jerawatan gitu loh.
No, I can so relate with that, and that's why it stuck with me. Soalnya aku berasa kayak, dia orangnya warm banget gitu. So I'm just really glad that we came into each other's orbit, because you've shown me what friendship can truly be.
Sama.
What's one thing you thought about female friendship that turned out totally wrong?
That female friendship has to involve competition. Apalagi mungkin sebagai perempuan nih pada khususnya gitu ya. We are socially conditioned untuk selalu kompetisi gitu. Dan selalu menilai orang lain dari, especially other women gitu ya. Untuk selalu judge them by, oh my god, is she better than me? Like, terus kalau better, terus kayak dari segi apanya? Like, how can I beat them gitu loh? How can I be better than them? In whatever ways gitu. And especially in our friendship, I don't feel that at all. And sebenarnya it's totally unnecessary juga sih sebenarnya, yang kayak for me, fortunately sampai sekarang belum pernah ngerasain jealous atau envy towards my friend, because I feel like kalau they're happy, and I know that my friends deserve happiness juga gitu, and I'm happy for them. Jadi nggak ada perlunya gitu untuk kompetisi, buat apa? What about for you?
No, that's one of the things that I really admire about you. Also, I really love about you because you're very generous. Not just with your actions, but obviously with your thoughts, the way that you give to other people. And we'll talk about envy later. It's one of the questions.
Okay.
But for me, one thing about female friendship, it's not that it's totally wrong, tapi throughout our friendship, I've had two inner convictions. Yang pertama adalah I do not want to treat my friendship like it's optional. Karena kita tuh pour so much energy into our careers or romance. Padahal friendship is what makes both survivable. Kayak misalnya if we have challenges with career or romance, our friend becomes our support system, bener gak sih?
Iya. I feel like support system tadi emang comes in the form of family, pasangan, friends, terus juga community. Tapi kan kalau friends juga, as we talked about, the quality of the friends, bukan cuma quantity-nya aja, bukan cuma jumlah angkanya yang kayak bridesmaid squad gitu ada banyak, tapi how many of them bener-bener got your back.
Bener.
Semua kalau mau happy-happy doang, semua juga bisa.
Banget.
Who's gonna be there for you when they're sick? Who's gonna be there for you when they have problems with their whatever?
Yeah.
Biasanya yang from my experience gitu, ada ya orang-orang yang mungkin zaman sekarang terlalu woke gitu ya. Kayak, oh my god, I cannot deal with your problems right now. Because it's already too much gitu. Kayak capek gue dengerinnya ini terus. Mungkin ada yang valid sebenarnya. Cuma ada yang jadi toxic juga sih. Have you ever experienced that?
Kayaknya kalau kayak gitu belum. Tetapi what I've experienced is definitely, tadi kan you were sharing, I cannot deal with this right now gitu kan. I think basis dari attitude itu adalah believing that the friendship can run on autopilot. Sedangkan I feel like every deep bond requires intention, not leftovers.
Ya, benar banget. Especially sekarang juga kayaknya banyak memes atau reels yang kayak so thankful for my low maintenance friendship. Sebenarnya nggak apa-apa. Ini kan semua pilihan dan juga memang tergantung prioritas masing-masing. Nggak apa-apa ada low maintenance friendships, tapi ada juga kalau memang orang-orang yang terlibat di friendship itu butuh lebih, ya why not? Tapi memang I feel like kalau memang you cannot provide that atau you cannot get that from your friend, mungkin baiknya ada komunikasi juga kali ya. Jadi set expectations.
Iya. Do you think that there's such thing as low maintenance friendships?
Ada, tapi I feel like I think based on my experience, low maintenance friendships itu ujung-ujungnya nggak bisa as deep as high maintenance friendships because involvementnya kecil banget. I would imagine low maintenance friendships itu kayak comet friends. Comet friends tuh maksudnya gini, ada yang maybe you meet once or twice a year, maybe you call here and there, terus langsung catch up, tapi nggak terlalu day to day catch up gitu loh, nggak day to day. Kalau gimana ya, they're not your number one person that you would go to kalau misalnya you have good news or bad news. Nggak apa-apa juga, tergantung butuhnya apa dan kapasitasnya apa, right?
Betul banget deh. Soalnya I'm reading this book called Fighting for Our Friendships by Daniel Bayard. Jadi dia bilang ada perbedaan antara female friendship sama male friendships. Jadi kenapa female friendships itu lebih banyak friction? Karena kita tuh expect depth dari friendships kita. Sedangkan kalau untuk male friendships itu mereka tuh okay dengan keeping it at arm's length.
Right.
And so makanya banyak male friendships yang lebih low maintenance. Kebayang kan? Do you think that our culture tends to undervalue female friendships compared to romantic love?
I think so, especially kalau misalnya you know those people yang getol banget nih di persahabatan, tapi once they have a boyfriend hilang. Kesel banget guys. Terus kita jadi kayak nanti gitu udah putus balik lagi. Like kita dianggap apa gitu ya guys. Tapi untungnya I think for me, fortunately masa-masa itu mungkin orang-orangnya udah lewat juga gitu ya. We're not in high school anymore, so I think it rarely happens, but it still happens sometimes, right?
It has always felt off to me when I see women ditch their friends for their boyfriends gitu loh. Soalnya kayaknya di society ya kita tuh udah di condition untuk ngelihat romance as the main course and friendship tuh kayak side dish. Jadi kayak nice to have tapi boleh iya boleh enggak deh gitu.
Jadi nggak diprioritasin. Padahal sebenarnya kita nggak punya termnya sih di Indo. Tapi maksudnya kalau di bahasa Inggris kan ada chicks before dicks, right? Sebenarnya harusnya ya gimana ya? Friends are the ones who, ya kalau friends ya bener ya. they're always gonna be the ones yang ada di situ buat kalian gitu. Sedangkan maybe guys come and go, misalnya seperti itu kan. So why don't we put more effort into our friendships, nurturing our friendships sebenarnya, karena I feel like at the end of the day, yang namanya gimana ya, pasangan misalnya, of course maunya sih till death do us part, tapi at the end of the day ujung-ujungnya I feel like we would rely heavily on friends and communities.
I agree with you. And to be fair, I understand kalau long-term relationship, long-term partner itu takes natural priority. Tapi I feel yang problem itu is not prioritizing a partner, tapi treating friendship as expendable. Jadi kayak ya boleh ya boleh enggak lah. Kalau gue putus hubungan juga nggak apa-apa lah. Jadi kan kita sebagai teman kayak ngerasa nggak dihargain kan.
Yeah. And that's why waktu when we had our first friendship anniversary, and then we decided to like celebrate it, itu gemes banget.
Iya.
Itu ada, jadi I bawa wine, and then kasih bunga.
Ih lucu banget.
And then waktu itu juga provide the food, right?
Yeah, we ate roast chicken.
Iya. Terus jadinya, I think from that point onwards, thanks to you, akhirnya I made a commitment untuk jadinya treat my friends as romantic partners juga, yang kayak ask them out for a date.
I feel that our support system is not built on romance alone. Friendship is just as crucial. Menurut you ya, Dek, kenapa banyak female friendships yang akhirnya drift apart atau fade out?
I think there are several factors ya. Bisa jadi memang shift of responsibilities, and then maksudnya priorities. Mungkin ada yang tadi baru ngelahirin, atau mungkin emang lagi sibuk dengan masalahnya sendiri misalnya. Atau bisa juga, in my experience, ada yang pernah karena the way they deal with problems is by shutting everyone out. Yang kalau kayak gitu agak susah ya. Terus ya, what can we do about it? Ya udah, nggak bisa. All we can do is just give them space. And then yang hopefully they would reach out to us again gitu when they're ready. Atau ada juga mungkin berasa kompetitif. Ya itu sih, I feel like gara-gara yang woke ini terus jadi berasa, I'm protecting my energy. Padahal ini sebenarnya gimana ya? As human beings, we need to connect with other people, especially our friends. Memang ada orang-orang yang mungkin toxic dan treat friends as somebody you can trauma dump tanpa mikirin mereka lagi ada capacity apa enggak. Tapi mungkin sebenarnya ada orang-orang yang memang genuinely lagi butuh a friend, lagi butuh someone to connect with, to feel like they have somebody, they're not alone gitu loh. Sedangkan kayak in the name of protecting my energy, I cannot deal with your problems gitu loh. You deal with it your own. I cannot be sad with you because maybe ya again mereka juga they have their own issues. Soalnya ada nggak sih tipe-tipe teman yang kayak I'm only gonna be here if it's only gonna be fun.
Banget, itu kayak teman seneng-seneng nggak sih? I think I shared with you a reel that deep listening to others is only possible when we can deeply listen to ourselves. Jadi pada akhirnya difficulty teman kita of being vulnerable itu kadang reflect on themselves juga nggak sih, Dek?
For sure. I think we talked about it earlier juga. It's like gimana ya, the ability and then the capacity for them to show up in our friendship depends heavily on the ability and the capacity for them to show up for themselves juga. Especially kalau misalnya like mungkin mereka feel uncomfortable gitu in the presence of our vulnerability. Ya karena mereka juga nggak bisa vulnerable sama diri sendiri.
Bener.
Mungkin mereka juga find it difficult untuk open up ke kita juga.
Bener.
Gitu.
You mentioned fear of vulnerability, and then the second one was competition, and the third one was teman senang-senang aja gitu ya. Ada nggak satu alasan yang satu penyebab your friendships drift apart yang main, yang berulang?
Berulang as in ada patternnya gitu?
Iya.
So far sih enggak sih, thankfully ya. I think I've curated my friends, thankfully. I think I've managed, gimana ya, I don't have that many friends, But the people that I go to whenever I have bad news, good news, I feel like itu udah curated, and so I'm thankful for that. Jadinya belum pernah ada pattern yang berulang seperti itu sih. I feel like I've grown enough to spot ini red flags-nya apa aja ya. Just like dating, right?
Betul.
Lama-lama jadi pinter juga sih. What about you? Do we have a pattern?
I definitely have a pattern. Tapi mungkin I pengen share sedikit because I think that this information itu relate banget with me from that same book Fighting for Our Friendships. Jadi si Daniel Baer tuh bilang bahwa ada 3 pillars that a female friendship stands on. Yang pertama tuh symmetry. Symmetry tuh rasa kayak girl, you're like me gitu. Me too gitu.
Ada relatable-nya ini ya.
Ada relatable-nya. Terus second is emotional support. Turns out the number one thing that women look for in their friendships is emotional support. Nah, yang ketiga tuh secrecy. Secrecy tuh kayak we know something about each other that others don't. Gitu. I think for me the pattern is more the emotional support deh. Jadi mungkin kayak ada perasaan, for me the pattern is emotional support means we feel supported in our struggles and celebrated in our wins. I feel like the emotional support part for me banyak dari my past friendships yang nggak kena. Contohnya misalnya like you said ada competition atau agak sulit buat have hard conversations, akhirnya jadi nggak feel emotionally supported gitu loh.
I understand and I cannot really relate to that personally. Tapi I do have a story. This is about like somebody that I knew. Itu juga emotional support ini ya. Jadi I think she was grieving about marriage or whatever. Pokoknya grieving. And then her friend nggak bisa ada in the grief because emang nggak capable aja. So it's like kayak you're too much. Just gonna take off. Maybe we talk later ya. Gitu loh. Jadi kan gimana ya? You thought that you can turn to them for support, tapi ternyata ya emang nggak ada kapasitasnya gitu. Is that what you meant?
Something like that. The feeling I think is similar. Sebenarnya ini semua tuh bisa di bridge dengan open communication ya, Dea. Which brings me to the next question. Kalau you ada tension sama teman, would you prefer to bring it up langsung atau biarin aja sampai reda sendiri?
I think as we know, ada masalah dibiarin gitu aja, kayaknya masalah nggak akan beres, yang ada numpuk guys. So I'm glad that in our friendship, whenever we think that something is off, we are able to I think this friendship provides a safe enough space for us to bring our concerns about each other misalnya. And I'm glad that we have that. And even though sebenarnya mungkin sempet ngerasa kayak ini temen kayak begini banget ya. Kok kayaknya sebenarnya nggak I wouldn't say banyak banget dramanya juga sebenarnya enggak. Karena in the past year I think we've only had maybe 2 frictions lah.
Kayak 3 deh.
3 ya? Jadi nambah guys. Wow. Is this one that I am aware of? But anyway. Tapi intinya, I'm glad that it actually provided an opportunity for me personally untuk bisa grow as a better human being. Yang gimana juga bisa show up better in our friendship. Tapi ripple effect-nya juga bisa affect my friendships and my relationship, for example with Joe, because you teach me a lot about like communication, about protecting your emotional boundaries, for example gitu.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad that I can do that with you, Side. I know pasti hard conversations is very uncomfortable ya. It's uncomfortable for both of us. Tapi I think what makes this friendship so precious to me, and I feel like our friendship is very healing karena namanya healing ya. Pasti ada hurt yang perlu kita heal. For me at least, after every friction, terus kita talk it out, I feel that our friendship gets stronger every time.
I feel the same. Soalnya this friendship actually teaches me juga untuk nggak apa-apa loh bisa ada rupture sama friends. Karena abis itu ada repairnya juga. So nggak usah kalau memang ada rasanya nggak enak, daripada dipendem, diomongin aja. Mungkin itu miskomunikasi sebenarnya, atau kayak itu hanya it's in our mind doang, atau memang sebenarnya Shishi perlu ada yang ngasih cermin balik juga. Hey, this was not nice misalnya. Tapi what's important is that this friendship teaches me that rupture itu nggak apa-apa, berantem itu nggak apa-apa, berantem itu nggak selamanya buruk. And I think honestly, as people, kita juga bisa berantemnya tuh yang bener in a way. I think we fight healthy in the sense that I think we really try to have difficult conversations tanpa nyalahin. And I think for me, I'm able to recognize when I feel frustrated, when I get defensive, and say it to you gitu loh. So you know where ini rasanya lagi gimana nih kalau di situasi ini.
Iya. Dan itu menurut I poin yang penting banget ya, berantem yang bener. Karena the way I see it, kita tuh kayak bukan yang berantem kayak, it's not like cat fights gitu ya guys. Jadi lebih, it's more like it's just like a conversation, a very honest conversation about our feelings. Lebih kayak gitu ya Dea ya. Dan I'm just really glad juga sih Dea, you're the only friend that I have yang bisa setelah rupture itu malahan jadi stronger. Karena selama ini, well, I don't actually bring up hard conversations with just anyone juga. And I really learned that actually not all friendships itu capable of platonic intimacy sih sebenarnya ya. Platonic intimacy meaning kedekatan emosional yang dalam tanpa unsur romantis atau seksual. Jadi biasanya kita jadi ngerasa terbuka tentang pikiran kita, perasaan kita, mimpi kita, tanpa takut dijudge. And I definitely feel that with you. So really thank you.
Thank you. It takes two to tango kok.
Iya.
Gosh. Tapi soalnya nih, during our last fight,
konflik
ya. Oh yeah, I think you're gimana ya? I don't know if confrontational is the right word. But I feel like you're that kind of person. It's not, I don't mean it in a bad way. Itu kayak yang kita ngomongin waktu itu loh, yang like what I told you about kayak, wow, thank you so much for bringing this up, because gimana ya, I feel like this is a make or break situation for our friendship gitu loh. So I guess I would imagine it's like kayak, ya udahlah, I have nothing to lose, let's just ngomong aja deh and hope for the best that it's received well. And jadinya friendshipnya jadi stronger. And thankfully, it did.
Yeah, I just knew that felt like a make or break loh for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me it wasn't a make or break at all.
Yeah. Enggak. I would imagine it. I would imagine itu maksudnya kalau in normal friendships.
Oh iya.
Kayaknya agak susah deh.
Betul.
Nggak bisa, ya like you said, nggak bisa sama semua orang. Ya harus lihat dulu orangnya kan.
Yeah.
Especially kalau baru setahun kenalan gitu kan.
Definitely. Dan I think I juga belajar bahwa ketika misalnya I pengen bring up something gitu ya, mungkin dievaluasi dulu offense-nya tuh seberapa berat. Kedua, tapi nggak cuman itu, frekuensinya itu is it a one time thing atau bakalan recurring nih. Nah ketiga, mutual investment and commitment in the relationship-nya sama nggak?
Iya, setuju banget.
Soalnya masalahnya menurut saya gini sih Dek, having the hard conversation is actually not about picking a fight. It's about protecting the friendship from silent resentment.
Bener.
Yang toh akhirnya kalau kita biarin aja, terus itu nanti ada recurring lagi dan lagi, kita bakal drift apart lagi gitu loh. Jadi malahan I feel having the hard conversations means we value the friendship enough and trust that it will get stronger with this gitu.
I agree. Yeah, I feel like if you didn't care about our friendship, ya udah buat apa? Udahlah, let it go aja lah. It's not like I'm gonna stay friends with her for a long time gitu kan. Tapi kan I think in every relationship, kalau memang konflik itu nggak bisa dihindarin. Ya soalnya kan kalau for the health of long-term relationship, emang sebaiknya ada keterbukaan. Kalau memang takut gitu dan nggak bisa vulnerable, ya gimana mau how deep can you go with that other person? kalau you don't feel safe enough untuk bring up hard conversations, and then trust that the other person would receive it well.
Yeah. Have you ever had a hard conversation like that with another friend, and how did it turn out for you?
I have 2 other good friends that over the course of however many years ini udah pernah ada konflik juga. Tapi I'm thankful juga sih, since I think semenjak kita temenan sih, soalnya lebih belajar cara komunikasi yang benar tuh gimana ya. Bukan yang benar sih, komunikasi yang sehat seperti apa. Jadinya itu benar-benar membantu menjadi bekal untuk I bawa ke my own friendships, yang akhirnya I'm also thankful, ini mungkin good timing, soalnya mereka bisa jadi lebih ngerti dan menerima. Meskipun ada satu orang yang mungkin satu temen yang di awalnya ada resistance, tapi give it time, lama-lama mikir sendiri, terus kayak iya ya sih dia bener juga. And then we could have it both ways. Jadi they're able to bring talk about hard conversations as well with me. Jadinya ya, like you said, ini friendships-nya malah jadi stronger and better. Because kan gimana ya, I think expecting other people to, I feel like being with someone, mau itu friendship, mau itu romance, it's like going to a country where you don't speak the language gitu. So nggak bisa expect, harusnya dia ngerti dong gue maunya gimana, harusnya dia ngerti dong kalau gue ngambek, kalau gue nggak suka ABCD. Kalau nggak diomongin gimana kita bisa ngerti, especially because like you and 2 other friends ini mungkin needs-nya beda. I also have needs, tapi mungkin different needs gitu. Kalau nggak dikomunikasikan, gimana kita tahu Shishi butuh apa dari friendship ini? Can I give it to you? Am I the right person? I think it's relatable to our last conflict ya. You taught me about being accountable. Yang sepertinya ini in the past 2 days, kayaknya seluruh warga Indonesia ini juga akhirnya belajar kata-kata akuntabilitas ya. Instead of terlindas, dilindas.
Kata-kata tuh, kata-kata yang kita ucapkan itu bakal membentuk dunia kita. Misalnya, dia terlibat sama dia melibatkan orang ini. Itu kan udah beda banget ya. Ada pasif, ada aktif. Gitu sih. Saya terlibat dalam kasus ini. Itu seolah ada orang lain yang melibatkan dia. Beda kalau dia bilang, saya melibatkan diri saya dalam kasus ini. Itu kan ada akuntabilitas ya. I think another thing yang I want to highlight, ini nggak related sih deh, tapi ini balik lagi ke what you shared about resistance and defensiveness. Menurut I, defensiveness dan resistance itu something yang normal. I think when we feel, even though it's not a confrontation, tapi we feel confronted. Beda ya, ada feeling confronted sama beneran di confront tuh beda. Whenever we feel confronted, pasti kita ada ngerasa ada resistance atau defensiveness. But I think that there is something yang kita harus normalisasi dan bisa rasakan tanpa mengizinkan defensiveness itu untuk mengendalikan kita.
Like I mentioned earlier, I think it's important for us to be able to express kita lagi ngerasa apa pada saat itu. Kayak misalnya tadi waktu you bilang feeling confronted sama actually being confronted kan sebenarnya beda. Jadi bisa aja mungkin kalau memang lagi di situasi seperti itu, I feel confronted and I'm getting really defensive right now. Ya, terus mungkin ada ada template-template yang mungkin bisa dipakai gitu. Misalnya di awalnya, okay, so the story that I'm telling myself right now is that you ABCD. Is that really what's happening right now?
Itu bagus banget sih, I learned from you juga about that template ya, because that's something that you and Joe say to each other, right? During your conflicts. Something about healthy conflicts ya, gak semua friendship tuh capable of platonic intimacy, dan itu gak apa-apa banget. Kayaknya something that I want to share with the audience juga, sebelum kita memutuskan untuk have hard conversations, kita juga harus menakar gitu ya, kira-kira apakah pertemanan ini capable dan bisa receptive to influence.
Kalau willingness to accept influence itu sebenarnya sebelum ada hard conversations kan sebenarnya kita bisa test the water dulu, mulai dari ngomong sesuatu deh yang kayak tadi kok kayaknya gue ngerasa aneh deh waktu lu ngomong kayak gini. Kalau ngomongin soal term willingness to accept influence ini sebenarnya mungkin bisa ditakar dulu nih, kira-kira orang ini nggak cuma teman ya sebenarnya, pasangan ataupun ya mungkin staff kita, orang ini kira-kira reseptif nggak ya towards feedback. I feel feedbacknya itu pun nggak usah hal besar, mungkin feedback dari hal kecil, dan juga dari kesehariannya kira-kira cek dulu ini orangnya share values growth mindset juga nggak sama kita. Soalnya menurut saya kalau memang kira-kira orangnya sama-sama growth mindset, chances are biasanya sih lebih willing to accept influence. Maksudnya gini, accept influence tadi kan accept feedback juga. Kalau memang, oh you have a feedback about me yang kayak, oh I think these are the areas that I think you can improve. What do you think about that? Biasanya kalau for me, Joe would ask me, would approach it with curiosity, and then juga Joe would ask me kayak, is this something that you would like to nurture? Is this a part of you that you would like to keep in the future gitu? Kalau you don't like this part of you, ya nggak mau di keep juga, ya udah tinggalin dong, atau change the behavior atau gimana gitu.
That's a really powerful point because true people with growth mindset pasti lebih nyaman dengan ketidaknyamanan. Jadi walaupun
lebih bisa toleransi.
Betul, lebih bisa toleransi karena kan growing is never comfortable kan. We have to leave our comfort zone at the end of the day gitu. And speaking of growth mindset, tadi kan you asked me about envy, right? Oke, mungkin I definisiin dulu apa sih envy ya. I think a lot of people use the terms envy and jealousy interchangeably. Padahal mereka beda. Envy itu you have something I want. Tapi kalau jealousy itu I'm scared of losing what I have to this third party. Gitu. So let's talk about envy ya. Misalnya I see a friend who has a gorgeous home gitu. And I want a gorgeous home like hers gitu. I think that's envy. Tapi envy itu menurut I nggak selalu jahat. Itu nggak selalu disloyal. I feel like it's very human. Kayak misalnya kita dicubit, pasti kita ada reaksi deh. Kita ngelihat ada orang punya sesuatu yang kita inginkan gitu, and we feel envy. I feel that that's very natural and it's very human. And I wish more people would not shame envy. Cause misal let's say I have envy towards my friend. Normally, if I feel that way, I would separate my envy from my friend. Because my envy is just an indication that, oh, here's something that I want. But like you said, my friends also deserve happiness. Itu jangan sampai mempengaruhi emotional support I sama my friend. Tadi yang one of the pillars.
Yeah, I feel like kalau misalnya talking about emotion, I agree with you. Don't judge and don't shame ourselves gitu loh, or other people for feeling something. Soalnya I think what's important is not the feeling itself, tapi what they do about it. Translationnya ke action mereka apa? Soalnya ya emang perasaan itu, emosi itu normal sih. Memang kita semua namanya masih manusia ya, masih ngerasain tadi. Mungkin ada iri hati, mungkin some people jadinya towards dengki. Ya tapi jangan sampai dengki juga sih. Tapi ya ujung-ujungnya ya ujung-ujungnya what we're doing about it that matters.
Betul banget deh, and I wish that more people would talk about envy. Kayak sesimpel misalnya sih I feel envious of you. Maybe I would share juga sama you gitu. Dek, jujur ya, I feel envious deh that you have this. Tapi I'm really happy for you, but I just want to share how I feel with you gitu. Jadi bisa sesimpel itu, dan it's not something yang threaten the relationship. Malahan it's something that we can support each other throughout. Soalnya mikir gini, I sempat dengar ada satu example dek. Ada dua temen nih misalnya, yang satu pengen banget punya anak. Terus ngelihat temennya punya anak, very happy with the baby. Maybe it's like a knee-jerk reaction, kayak kita dicubit kita langsung gini kan. Kita agak susah, mungkin orang itu bakalan agak susah bahagia ketika dia ngelihat temennya lagi sama babynya gitu loh dek. Tapi I feel like it's very human, and if that can be expressed safely without threatening the emotional support between the two people, I feel like that would be fine in the long term.
I think in that example, misalnya bisa juga sih sebenarnya bilang kayak, I would add, I'm happy for you that you have a baby, but I'm also feeling envious because I haven't gotten what I want. And you don't need to feel bad. And I'm not asking for anything from you. You don't need to change anything. I would like to still be there for you.
Iya, itu bagus banget.
Itu belajar dari INM, guys.
Itu bagus banget sih.
Soalnya kalau di INM itu kan juga, of course yang namanya jealousy pasti ada. Dan what I practice with Joe is that we would tell each other kalau berasa jealous, tapi tetap bilang juga, I don't need you to change anything. I'm just asking for your support right now. That's it. Jadi bukannya kita berasa sesuatu, terus orang lain yang harus ada emotional labor untuk kayak, okay, what do I need to do to fix this? Padahal mungkin aja emang nggak butuh di fix juga sebenarnya.
Iya, cuma butuh di let be aja kan sebenarnya. Dan sama seperti envy atau jealousy and INM gitu ya. It only becomes a problem if it turns from a passing feeling to a pattern of distance, competition maybe, and sabotage gak sih?
Iya, kalau misalnya perasaan itu dijadikan aksinya. Kalau tidak ada aksinya, and then you ask for what you need lah. Misalnya tadi, mungkin I don't need you to change the behavior, but I'm gonna need extra support from you, emotional support. And then while you work on yourself as well, I think everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah, because when that jealousy or envy is acted upon, itu tendensinya bisa malahan overstep batasan each other gak sih? That healthy boundaries udah jadi unhealthy gitu. Misal let's say dalam pertemanan gitu, misal I feel envious, terus I act on my envy. Kan jadi misalnya I bilang, ih, you bikin ini gak takut ya di serobot sama orang, jadi nggak supportive sama your business misalnya, contohnya kayak gitu. Jadi malahan overstep boundaries. Nah, so speaking about boundaries ya Dea, what do healthy boundaries look like for you in a female friendship?
Healthy boundary, for the record, ini boundary sama rule itu beda ya. Biasanya mungkin we thought that it's interchangeable, apalagi orang-orang kita yang baru melek nih soal boundary. Misalnya orang-orang kita tuh mungkin ngertinya boundary itu kayak jangan ABCD. Aku nggak mau kalau lo lakuin ABCD. Padahal it's a rule. Boundary sounds more like aku nggak akan stay in this conversation if you keep raising your voice. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just letting you know kalau memang hal ini terjadi terus, I'm gonna remove myself from the situation. So in this case, kalau healthy boundary in terms of friendship, so I think in healthy friendship, itu juga termasuk respectful communication. So even though kita ada conflict, we still communicate respectfully towards each other. Focus on the issue gitu loh. Jangan bawa-bawa atau ungkit-ungkit hal yang udah lewat misalnya.
Bener banget sih, respectful communication is something that is essential, nggak cuma di friendship, tapi in everywhere, in every relationship ya Dea.
Apalagi kalau respectful communication ini based on my experience, what I meant by jangan bawa yang lain-lain itu misalnya kayak gini. Oh pantesan ya gue ngerti sekarang kenapa lo begini soalnya your mom juga kayak gitu. That happened to me before. So of course dari situ, wah udah cukup. That's it. You cross the line. I'm not gonna bother to talk to you anymore. This is the end of our friendship.
Jadi menggunakan your personal information as weapon gak sih?
Padahal itu bukan konteksnya juga. But anyway, ini going back to respectful communication. I think gimana ya, kita semua bisa, sebaiknya kita semua belajar komunikasi yang baik juga sih sebenarnya. Orang tuh kayak ngomong komunikasi ini kayak jargon banget ya. Komunikasi segala. Kadang-kadang orang tuh lupa komunikasi, it takes two to tango. Komunikasi dipikir cuma ngomong doang, padahal active listening, validation, pokoknya intinya jadi pendengar yang baik, yang bisa menerima feedback misalnya, itu kan juga bagian dari komunikasi. Kalau komunikasi kita cuma ngomong-ngomong doang, tapi nggak punya skill untuk jadi pendengar yang baik, that's not a healthy communication, no?
Totally. Respectful communication is definitely one of the healthy boundaries yang penting banget dalam setiap hubungan ya Dea. For me, healthy boundaries look like communicating your needs honestly. Of course, respectfully. Main sih misalnya sih, oh I can't call right now, but what about next week? Itu kan sebenarnya healthy boundary ya. I need this time for me right now, but I would like to also spend time with you. Misalnya gitu. Honoring each other's capacities. Right? Jadi misalnya nih, gak overextending to be a good friend, showing up in a way that feels authentic and sustainable. Soalnya kan setiap orang tuh cara show up-nya beda-beda kan, Dek. Karena menurut I boundary itu penting banget biar bikin any relationship sustainable gak sih?
Bener banget. I agree with you about yang tadi capacity juga. Soalnya gini, kita juga nggak terbiasa ya mungkin kalau untuk ngechat temen gampang. Langsung aja curhat, bombard with whatever is going on in our life, whatever problem we have. Padahal mungkin bisa nanya consent dulu sih, nanya capacity mereka dulu sih. Hey, do you have the time? Do you have the capacity? Do you have the headspace untuk dengerin curhatan gue kali ini? Kalau nggak bisa, can we schedule time for that? Daripada like, hey, by the way, here's my problem, just dump aja. Mana tahu mungkin yang sebenarnya our friend juga lagi nggak ada capacity-nya, mungkin they're dealing with their own problems. Dan mungkin jadi nggak bisa show up buat kita juga.
Nah, itu sesuatu yang I wish more people understood sih. It's not just about receiving love, tapi how we can receive love while also honoring the love we have for the other person. A healthy boundary looks like honoring each other's priorities. Pasti dalam kehidupan ada prioritas lain ya, such as career, our partners, and kalau misalnya udah punya anak, ada anak juga. Tapi mungkin I pengen kasih contoh deh sama kalian. I actually communicated, bukan boundaries ya deh, tapi lebih kayak I communicated my priority, which is on weekends, I would spend time with my husband, Ray, and I communicated to Dea bahwa in general kalau weekends nih I would be unavailable. Tapi nggak yang kayak rigid fix banget. Tapi in general I would have quality time sama my husband and my son Blue gitu. And that's something that I hope you would communicate with me juga in the future. If you have like a priority yang you want to communicate with me, I would really appreciate that because for me it's data on how to love you better.
Thank you. Tapi I'm glad that you communicated it with me and telling me what you need. Because I also would like to see your marriage happy and thriving for sure. Jadi kayak, oh, I appreciate it kalau you tell me that, oh, weekends are for me and my family. That's it.
Yeah.
Nggak usah ada no hard feelings gitu loh. Like, I mean, bisa creep up di aspek hidup apa aja ya. Khususnya relationship. Tapi mungkin kalau kita ngomongin friendship, jangan berasa entitled to your friend's time all the time.
That is so true deh, because I experienced this once. Tapi ini to be fair ini pas masih high school sih. Jadi waktu itu, I udah lama sih nggak ketemu, bukan high school sih, uni. I udah lama ketemu my friend yang ini. Terus kita mau ketemuan dan janjian kan. Terus I said I'm available on this date, which is 2 weeks later. Terus dia ada ngomong remark yang for me itu langsung break the relationship. Tapi to be fair kita nggak terlalu deket banget lah ya. Dia bilang, gila janjian sama lu udah kayak mau makan Nobu ya, reserve-nya 2 minggu sebelum. Nah itu for me that looks like not honoring the other person punya capacity and priority juga gak sih?
Iya, jadinya
we're adults.
Yeah, we're adults and we have different. Ya makanya kalau kayak kita, we're all busy. So we have to be intentional in making time for our friendships. And that's why every time we meet, abis itunya I always thank you. Kayak thank you so much for spending time with me, for making time for our friendship. Karena kita mau memberikan satu sama lain waktu yang disisihkan, bukan disisakan. Apalagi kalau sama temen kan biasanya paling gampang yang tadi berasa entitled. Kalau lo nggak ada di sini buat gue, kayak ngapain sih lo sama yang mana? Atau on the other end of the spectrum malah kayak bail terus, udah janji terus kayak nggak deh, I've got better things to do with my spouse.
Bener banget itu mah.
My girlfriend can wait. She's not gonna get it. She's not gonna go anywhere anyway.
Bener banget sih, dan I feel like boundary adalah satu hal yang mau nggak mau, as we grow older, kita dipaksa untuk set healthier boundaries. Karena kalau nggak kita modar juga nggak sih?
Iya, jadi kayak spreading ourselves too thin juga kan, saying yes to everything. Speaking from experience, capek guys.
Iya. Nah, how have your friendships changed as you hit your 30s?
Lebih jujur dan terbuka, for sure. Especially kalau ada yang kayaknya a little off, kayak kok gini sih? Kayaknya I don't wanna feel this way with my friend. Ngomongin aja.
Yeah.
And then what I learned also from my relationship juga, it helps to let the other person know. Kalau misalnya we have something important to talk about, instead of kayak, by the way, lo available nggak tanggal segini? We need to talk. Orang kalau nggak tahu konteksnya, anxious banget. Gila, gue salah apa ya? Aduh, mau ngomong apa nih? So, again, ini adopting from my relationship with Joe. With my friendship tuh jadi kayak gitu juga. Oh, by the way, there's something that I've been meaning to talk to you about. Tapi about kira-kira garis besarnya apa. And then set up time. Gitu. Jadi orangnya nggak anxious. Dan juga pernah ada temen yang ngechat gitu ke I. Of course I was feeling anxious. So I tanya juga ke dia. By the way, it would make me feel lebih tenang nih. Lebih lega. If I know kita mau ngomongin apa. Can you share with me first? Kira-kira garis besarnya apa?
Itu penting banget ya Dea.
Ya kalau nggak jadi why do we need to lose sleep gitu loh over mungkin yang sebenarnya nggak apa-apa juga sih.
I connect with that deeply. And another thing that I learned from our hard conversations, it's always best to have it in person.
Iya,
right?
Kalau nggak soalnya banyak lost in translations kayaknya. Kalau lagi via text, especially kalau bacanya banyak, terus kayak konteksnya tuh nggak bisa di-convey semuanya dalam teks kan. So that's why I'm so glad that we, after a conflict, waktu itu kayak, kayaknya kita ketemu aja deh, biar jelas ngomongnya apa.
Betul, jadi kayaknya ya, for me, I also learned that I've been meaning to talk about this with you, blah blah blah. Can we schedule, a meeting tanggal segini, jam segini. Jadi lebih tenang ya, nggak usah ngomong back and forth via teks. Akhirnya banyak misunderstandings juga nih, karena tone of voice kita nggak bisa denger kan kalau misalnya di teks juga.
Terus apalagi kalau misalnya regarding our last conflict itu kan sebenarnya ini hal yang kurang lumrah. I would say this is a conflict yang mungkin nggak akan semua orang bring up gitu. Makanya konteks dan in-person communication matters. Untuk jelasin ini konsepnya tuh begini. And even so, itu aja masih nanya, Sih nggak ngerti maksudnya apa ya. Kan susah kalau itu cuma via chat doang. Ya of course it would get lost in translation gitu.
Bener banget. You mentioned that as you go older, you juga lebih honest dan open ya in your friendships. Apa sih konsekuensinya, from your experience, nggak terlalu terbuka sama teman ketika kita nggak nyaman tentang sesuatu?
Pastinya ada build up resentment jadinya. Dan akhirnya kalau memang tadi masalah yang tidak dikomunikasikan, belum tentu semuanya akan berlalu begitu aja. Yang ada malah numpuk. Jadi menurut I kalau nggak dikomunikasikan, yang ada malah jadi ada distant. Tapi mungkin kalau if we actually value the relationship, kayaknya memang harus diomongin ujung-ujungnya. Kalau nggak kayak, ya udahlah biarin aja. Tapi kan gimana ya? Hubungannya mau nggak mau akan jadi berjarak sih.
Iya, kecuali
I think naturally pasti akan berjarak, no?
Betul. Kecuali itu memang standard of intimacy yang you mau set dengan orang ini nggak sih? Do you think that there's such thing as forever friends?
I believe if we continually choose each other every single day, ini mau sama partner, mau sama friends, I'd like to think that forever friendship itu ada. Apalagi kalau misalnya the friends that are involved are able to withstand dan juga evolve. Karena namanya hidup ini, kan pasti ada perubahan. Misalnya ada mungkin orang tua yang meninggal, mungkin ada prioritasnya bergeser tadi. Kalau memang hubungannya bisa withstand all the changes, I don't see why friendshipnya nggak bisa last forever. Karena adaptability penting banget kan in any kind of relationship.
Penting banget sih. Dan I setuju banget sih, soalnya I think I've witnessed that in your auntie's friend, Darl. Your auntie's friend.
My auntie's friend. Oh right. Oh yeah.
Iya kan?
Yes. Right.
Iya kan? Your auntie's friend udah dari apa? High school. Yeah, and his auntie is actually udah like 70 years old. I know they're still friends. They still come to each other's birthdays. So definitely I think forever friends can exist. Tapi like you said, harus bisa adjust ke setiap perubahan yang orang ini lalui gitu. Teman kita lalui. Karena
Sama, it takes two to tango juga kan.
for sure, karena namanya juga hidup ya. Kita go through life stages, pasti feelingnya udah beda, prioritas udah beda, rhythmnya juga udah beda. Tapi the key is adjusting to who each other is becoming and recalibrating expectations as both people evolve. Maintaining the symmetry of the friendship. Yeah, it's tough, it's challenging, tapi bisa.
Yeah. And speaking of entitlement, for example ya, kayak I think it's not wise to expect that I hope we never change.
For sure.
Kalau we never change berarti kita juga nggak grow dong. Ya maybe it's not entirely a bad thing kalau nggak grow, tapi kan nggak regress juga. Cuma I think it's good to justru expect that we both would change. Tapi kan change is not always a bad thing. What about it change for the better thing? To be a better version of ourselves. Better suited for our friends juga. Ya why not?
Bener, ini menarik banget deh, karena menurut I banyak orang yang kayak gini. Jadi mereka ngelihat misalnya teman mereka change, tapi mereka ngelihat itu kayak betrayal. Jadi lu udah nggak kayak dulu lagi. Padahal kan sebenarnya setiap manusia pasti ada perubahan ya. Malahan pertemanan yang kokoh itu adalah pertemanan yang bisa mendukung evolusi masing-masing teman gitu.
Ya, especially kalau tadi kayak lu udah gak seru lagi deh. Ya mungkin this person udah grow out of that phase yang kalian juga sebenarnya mungkin masih kok stuck di situ-situ aja. So actually it's a good thing that maybe ya udah emang udah gak cocok lagi because udah gak sefrekuensi kan. Dia udah grow sendiri. Yang di sini mungkin kayak crab mentality mungkin jadinya.
Betul.
Tapi kan dari situ kan udah ke filter aja.
Banget. Have you ever heard this quote that, not quote sih, tapi saying bahwa a friendship breakup can hurt even more than a romantic breakup, right? Do you have a female friend that you still think about but have lost touch with?
Ada sih sebenarnya, tapi this one friend who used to be very close to me, like I previously mentioned, ini dia at the time tuh tipe orang yang kalau ada problem, she would keep it to herself and then shut everyone out. And then after several years baru reconnected lagi. Cuma of course friendshipnya udah gak bisa balik lagi. And I was actually pretty sad about that. But I've come to terms with it. Jadinya udah bisa accept, ya udah, this is the nature of friendship right now. This is what we have. Ya udah, I'm happy untuk segini aja. Because I know that we both tried giving it a chance again. Cuma kan ada hal-hal yang memang gak bisa dipaksa. Ya udah, kalau memang naturally friendshipnya udah transition ke situ. What about you?
Yeah. For me, kebetulan gak ada. Karena for me kayaknya ketika from my past friendships, kalau misalnya memang udah menjauh, I know exactly why. Terus udah accept aja bahwa kayaknya kalaupun misalnya kita ketemu lagi and try to be close friends lagi, emang udah gak bisa gitu loh, Dek.
Udah different seasons of our lives juga
Iya,
kan ya
udah
jadinya.
beda aja.
And we are different people now. Right?
Betul. Tapi I still wish them the best. Tapi I just don't think about them the same way. If you could give advice to women about building strong female friendships, what would it be?
So far I only have two. My advice would be, number one, be intentional in your friendship. Sisihkan waktu, bukan sisakan waktu to your friends. Yang kedua, don't avoid hard conversations. Karena kalau mereka the right friends for you, harapannya persahabatan kalian akan lebih kuat and you guys learn to show up better in your friendship.
I second that. I connect with that very deeply, Dek, about not letting your friendship run on autopilot, because It does require intention, not leftovers.
And maintenance.
Yes, and maintenance. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable, having hard conversations. Be brave to be fully seen in your entirety, because that's the only way that you can feel close to another human being, to your friend. Okay, then to wrap up, I have 3 quick fire questions. Of course, I cheated because I made the questions myself. Okay, number 1. What's one word or phrase I always say a lot?
Gini ya, Dek.
For
Bener gak sih? Gini ya, Dek.
For you,
Kalau enggak,
for you it's to be fair.
nggak salah sih kayaknya, iya.
Jangan gitu juga.
Ini kok ada impersonation ya? I don't like this.
Question number 2. If you lost me in a supermarket, where's the first place you'd look?
Oh, healthy aisle lah.
Ya nggak salah lah ya. We've never been to a supermarket before.
Tapi kalau dessert kayaknya nggak mungkin.
I don't think I'd find you in a supermarket because you'd be ordering online. Tapi kalau misalnya I find you in a supermarket, you'd be somewhere in the dessert aisle.
Close enough.
Last question. If you had to explain to someone why you love me, what would you say?
Because you make me a better person. Tapi beneran, I told you this before. Like, thank you so much for being my friend. Cause like, you really teach me how to be. You really teach me to be a better human being in general.
Thank you. I love Dea because she loves and gives generously, and she literally expands the joy in every room she walks into.
Soalnya I think as women we have been socially conditioned. Halo. Aku tegang guys sebenarnya. Lagi ada anak kecil teriak di depan. Ya boleh nggak apa-apa. Ke distract guys.
Kalau kamu suka obrolan deep talk kayak gini, please support me by liking, commenting, and subscribing to my channel. Gimana? Do you want more pillow talks like this?